Hello, everyone, and welcome once. Oh, hello. Welcome once again to our daily Limbus Company Mirror Dungeon ID study and book reading. I welcome you, whoever you are, whatever you're watching for, or whenever you're watching this stream, as all these streams are recorded and saved on the channel, so you can consult it later. Today, as per the requests of one of my viewers, I am going to be using a poking team, a poise and sinking team. Now, like I said before, I have reviewed every single ID in the game because I possess every single ID in the game, and we kind of ran out of stuff to do, so we're doing reruns now. If you have a particular theme or keyword that you wish for me to use in our daily mirror dungeons, you can check the link in the description below for a Google form where you can anonymously submit something that you want me to use or maybe even play. I will open up for video games as well because, Limit Company every day is fun and all, but eventually I'll grow tired. But new content coming today, and we mustn't forget, today is maintenance day, so we gotta hurry up. Now, let's get down with it. Hello, Vigigola, how are you doing? To use a poking team, a poise sinking team, we are, of course, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your luck and your how much you enjoy the house of spider, the index, we're gonna have to use the index. So we have in our hands here the index Nurse Sutter, the index Paper Slip, and the index Eagle Girl. All of them have poise, all of them have sinking. When we use a complete team in the mirror dungeon, I of course am referencing to the fact that we have to be able to activate any specific gift that requires 5 team members deployed that share a same keyword. Most noticeably, the crafted tier 4 gifts for each keyword. If you go over here, the Eagle Gift Companion, and since we're using poise and sinking, we go by tier. Go. We are talking about, for poise in particular, Lucky Pouch, and where's the other one? Cask Spirits. And for sinking, we're talking about Impending Wave, and lastly, but certainly not least, Black Sheet Music. To activate these gifts, their effects, we need 5 units that have sinking and 5 units that have poise. For this regard, we're going to use very old IDs. We're going to be using Los Mariachis Jefe Sinclair, which is a poise sinking unit, and we're going to use Edgar Family Butler Ishmael, which is also is a sinking poise team. Now, to be entirely honest, we could have run a better team because we can deploy up to 7 sinners in a battle, but we are, 5 sinners allows our top sinners here to have more slots and thus beat the enemies with greater ease, have more attacks, especially for the index Nurse Father Iseng. We could use, with the 3 indexes here, 2 of each keyword. We could use 2 poise units and 2 sinking units, and it would be much better, but I decided to go for a team of 5. Hello, Ghostface Man Shorts, and hello, Moises. How are you doing? Since you're here, Moises, allow me to tell you something. Yesterday, we got unfortunately filtered by Callisto, and we couldn't complete our Extreme Mirror Dungeon Floor 15. After I ended the stream, I decided to sit down, have some delicious soup, got myself all nourished, and I decided to give it a crack at it again. And you know what happened? I actually won. I wasn't on stream at the time, of course, but I won. I can prove it too. Since Callisto was the last Nurse Father I needed for the achievement, and that's why I wanted to try, all that I needed really was to eat. Malnourishment defeated my spirit during that mirror dungeon yesterday. It was literally that. I was hungry and I couldn't focus. Do you know what I did to defeat Callisto with that team? Yeah, I couldn't complete it solo because of the adversity for sanity. We couldn't evade all the attacks. But what we did was a human wave tactic. We set everyone to attack Albina, ignoring every attack from Albina and Callisto. Since we had all the Eagle Gifts and at the second turn they will be all slower, our sinners were faster than they were, and so they get to attack first. Of course, they would die right after from the one-sided attacks, and anyone that was attacking Merso got their attack redirected. So we did a human wave tactic, we nuked Albina by turn 3, and then there was after everyone else has died but Merso, Merceau dueled out with Callisto and won. It was amazing. I just needed some soup in my system, and then I was ready to go. Today I already ate, so it's going to be a little easier. Now, enough talking about this. Let's get down to the ID study, which is the point of these streams after all. Forgot about that. This time I'm not got caught. Not gonna get caught in leaving Limbus muted. Limbus is gonna be playing on full sound now. Haha, paid attention to that this time. Alright, the Index, which is gonna be our mainline fighters. The Index, as we all know, have a simple gimmick that about following the prescript. Every turn, when you have an Index unit in the field, it's going to mark one enemy, and in your dashboard skill, one skill for each Index unit will be marked. If you use the marked skill, you gain Grace of the Prescript, which is a buff. If you attack the marked target, you also gain Grace of the Prescript, which is also the same buff. However, if you attack the marked target with the marked skill, you gain 3 Grace of the Prescript. And it only stacks up to 9, so in 3 turns you're already at full power. You're literally just at the full power in 3 turns if you keep using the marked skill against the marked target. Now, this is of course much easier to do in a focused encounter, which allows you to choose your own targets, but as long as you follow the will of the prescript, follow the little blue star, your characters will become incredibly powerful no matter what you do. As in terms of gimmicks and mechanics, they all share this. Dawn here will turn into a little demon girl once she has enough Grace of the Prescripts. She will lose some sanity when she does that, and if she loses sanity like that, she will gain karmic consequences with something all of these 3 can do. If they do not hit the target that is marked, and if they do not use the marked skill, they will gain something called karmic consequences. Karmic consequences honestly is a bit of a joke because it requires way too much karmic consequence to be of any effect. Karmic consequences basically makes your sinner more vulnerable to damage and their defense skills weaker. Also, it's a bit of a joke. If there were more advanced prescripts that you could have to do in battle, it would be a bit more of an issue because sometimes it would give you like a nonsense prescript where you have to follow, which would be more in line with how this faction works in the lore, but unfortunately we only got use marked attack against marked target, and sometimes use like skill tree against marked target, but that is incredibly rare. In any case, this is their gimmick. It's very simple. Dawn turns into the Shadow Demon once she got enough Grace of the Prescripts, which raises her unlock level, which is another buff she can get. And while the House of Spiders Nurse Father Yiseng has his unique mechanic where when he attacks the marked target or uses an unbreakable coin, he gains Procuration Hermes, and once he is past a certain stack of Grace of the Prescript and has 9 Procuration Hermes, he gains the funny 9 coin skill, Furioso Replica. I already explained how Furioso Replica works. It's an unfocused volley, 9 coins. It doesn't roll really that high, and it's not as crazy as many people think, but it is flashy and powerful against most enemies. In any case, we're not gonna keep Ego this time around. This is gonna be a 4-5 because today's maintenance day. We're gonna take a quick look at Edgar Family Butler and Los Mariachis Jefe now, which doesn't really have any gimmick to them. They are a simple poise sinking unit, which gain a single coin power when they're faster. For all of her skills, has 1 level of escalation. Again, escalation being coin power or additional power you gain by fulfilling certain conditions. And so she has really nothing that crazy. It's just the fact that she fits as a poise and sinking unit. Her passive is, if I recall correctly, just more potency on her skills. And Los Mariachis Jefe is a strange type of tank. His skill tree lowers his stagger threshold, and I think he only has a single stagger threshold. And he gains a little bit of escalation based on the sinking on the enemy. But his coin power is so dog shit that it really doesn't make a difference. He's supposed to be a tank, and he's a pretty damn good tank at that. Every time he evades, he gains poise count, which is a single critical hit that he can do. He's a strange little tank. We used him solo before for 5 floors. It was fun, but it was a time-consuming endeavor because he really doesn't output much damage. Honestly, he really is just better to be a support. As we all know, his support gives you a 10% more damage against enemies that have lower sanity. So it would be better to use him as support, but since he fits the sinking poise for our full team, we're going to be using him. Of course, like I said before, we could use 2 units from both keywords, sinking or poise, to make this team better. Remember that we can deploy up to 7 sinners in battle. That means 3 of them are already the index, leaving us with 4 sinners. Since we need 5 from a single keyword, we could deploy 2 from each keyword that are good. For example, I could deploy Wild Hunt Heathcliff, I could deploy Kodia, and that would meet the sinking requirements. I could go over here on Ryoshu and deploy, let's say, a good poise unit. Good poise unit would be Merso over here. Where is it? Blade Lineage Merso as an example. I'm not going to use him. And any other sinking unit, any poise unit I wanted to use, like Blade of House and Spider's Pinky Apprentice. He is poised. So I could use this thing and still get off a full team, but I would deploy 7 sinners. I don't like deploying 7 sinners. It feels like overkill, especially for 5 floors of the Mirror Dungeon. I want to keep some semblance of damage, and especially because we are using older units here, it means anyone can shard them. And if you got lucky enough with your pulls, that you got all the indexes, which are, you know, the current Kanto extractable units, which you can shard as well. If you grind the Mirror Dungeon enough, you can get this team rolling, and they're pretty much going to demolish, because any team that can use more than 1 keyword, be it sinking, poise, tremor, rapture, etc., benefits for more gifts, which means they are more powerful. Yesterday, when we did Mersault, he benefited from the keyword pierce, the keyword burn, and the keyword bleed. He was doing insane amounts of damage. Because he has those keywords, he gains the damage bonus from all the gifts that give you bonus based on the enemy having burn or your skill having burn or bleed. And so he was rocking some serious damage there, which was how I defeated Callisto off screen, because, you know, I thought I wasn't gonna do it. I was just gonna, you know, bang my head against that nail. But I have been talking for 17 minutes about the IDs we have already reviewed, so let's build a team. For the most part, we are doing slash damage. Dawn here has an array of blunt damage, but she turns slash once she goes demon mode. So we benefit more from slash damage. And Los Mariachis happy here is just to shake his maracas and give some moral support. So we're looking for a team that can give us support passive in terms of sinking and poise. Let's start with Ryoshu. Now, Ryoshu has a tremor sinking passive here, which is nice. Let's see, Briefing Blade of Hongo gives us shield. This one gives us additional poise, I think on a kill if I'm not mistaken. It's gain poise count and haste. We're gonna take the butler here to help us out. For Merso, we are going to be taking... We don't need sanity heal because the index IDs pretty much heal their own sanity, so we really don't need to care about that. We could take the Ring Fovist student, because the Ring Fovist student applies defense level down for every... if they have 2 types of negative effects, and since we are a sinking team, and we are going to be inflicting other negative effects as well, like, say, bleed or the mark of the prescript itself, it applies. For Honglu, sinking poise. Sinking. We really don't have really good sinking poise support for Honglu unless you use bullets, but then again, you're still better off with Ting Tang Gang Leader. You know what it is, Ting Tang Gang Leader for that wonderful 20% damage bonus. For Heathcliff, I am tempted to take Wild Hunt. Why I'm taking Wild Hunt? Even though I'm not going to deploy him, Wild Hunt has on a Gloom Resonance, which we'll be doing plenty of, a damage bonus for the enemy with the ally with the highest SP. So that is a nice damage bonus. Rhodia will remain as she is, because that's 20% damage bonus. That is really tasty. Otis is going to be using today her base form rather than her Blade Lineage or G-Corp one, because since we have sinking, enemies will be constantly below 0 SP. That's a 30% more damage bonus that we can't really ignore. And finally, for Gregor, we are going to be using... what could be we use here? We are using sinking and we are using poise. I don't think there's anything that he can support us with poise or sinking. I mean, there is Edgar Family Heir, which makes us lose 5 sanity every turn to gain gloom damage up, and skill tree for Index Nurse Father Yiseng is a Glue Infinity one, but that's just 10% damage at the cost of 5 sanity per turn. But we do heal our own sanity, and we have deploying a full team. We don't really need healing this time around, so I am willing to pay the price of 5 sanity for a little bit more of damage. And that's our team. Very simple. Let's see what you guys are talking here. Let's see. We did it. Then we go try 415 just for the achievement. This pack. I think the best thing you want to do is max floors and just having proper complete team. Like I have once complete level 15. I think it's just saying that save up my shard in the next combat. I don't be able to start, but save prisoners so complete level 15. That's a good idea. Completing your teams is very good. As for you, Ghostface Man Shorts, highly recommend you have a complete team. Don't try to solo it. It becomes much easier if you have a team that can actually, you know, go there. The main problem I was having yesterday with Code Purple and with Callisto was the fact that we literally did not have enough slots, meaning that we were going to be targeted by many attacks, and if you couldn't dodge them because of the sanity adversity, we were screwed. When you have a full team, you can take some hits and even some casualties and stay in the fight, which is how the game basically functions. You let some sinners die sometime to take a powerful attack to give an opportunity. That is exactly how I did Callisto yesterday by deploying the full team of goobers to help Merso. Whenever a sinner face tanked a powerful attack, Merso would be taking that opportunity and blasting them with pure damage. In any case, this is our team, and let's deploy. Since we are now entering our seventh episode 71, I decided to change some rules because we're doing just re-rolls here. 4, 5, now we're going to be using full teams, and unless it's a solo, we're not going to be taking any more graces. The index is infecting my mind, sorry. We're not going to be taking any Grace of the Stars if we're using a full team, because there is no need, especially since we have the index. And we're only taking our initial gift here because, it's our initial gift. Of course, we're going to be going with Cigarette Holder. Since everyone in our team can generate poise, we gain +1 and then +2 once we have enough poise. And again, we are not going to be taking any gifts from the beginning. I want my Starlight, And so these are the rules I'm going to be using to change a little bit of the daily ID mirror dungeons. Unless we're doing a solo, which require a little bit of, help. Unless your name is Blade of the House of Spiders, Ryoshu, we are going to not take any more Grace of the Stars, and we're just going to rock it out. Now, let's go. Of course, we're going to deploy the 3 powerful goobers first, followed up by the other 2 that are partly there to give us moral support. Let's not forget that their only purpose here is moral support. Hello, Warp Corporation official account. How are you doing? Hey, I was messing with my channel yesterday on Twitch. Today, actually, and I saw your clip of Made of Me. Thank you. I feel very honored, even if I'm talking about slime.
그대들의 면면이 밝고 생기롭군.
Alright, since today is Wednesday and we are on maintenance day, we have to do these 5 floors real quick. And it's going to be real quick because we have the index here. So let's follow the will of the prescript and follow the shiny blue star, and we'll have no problem whatsoever. Let me just lower my volume here a little bit. Oh, Yiseng, come on, there we go. I am so glad that I managed to get all the nurse fathers on the stream. I'm gonna be honest, yesterday's stream wasn't my proudest stream. I entered the stream with all that bluster, all that pride, and then we got filtered really, really hard. But still, it was very fun. I had a lot of fun at the beginning, and we saw how much damage Merso could do. It was crazy. And here we have. Do you know why Dawn gained karmic consequences here? Even though it's not affecting her at all, because it requires, a lot of stacks to actually work. She gained karmic consequences because she managed to get 3 stacks of Grace of the Prescript before she was full sanity. So with her, you wanna, stall a little bit. Just attack the target or use the marked one until you get full sanity. This isn't gonna happen again because we're gonna be powering up. So it's gonna be happening. Maintenance day is 28th in Mayo, G4. So one thing, Moises, you are correct. It is tomorrow. Problem, we live in Brazil. They do their maintenance on Korea time. Midnight on Korea is 22 on our time. Just do W Corp Heath solo soon, or maybe a Deviate solo. Deviate solo is going to be a bit difficult, I'll tell you what. Because the Deviate has a built-in kill timer on their kit. If you don't defeat the fights fast enough, you are going to die. So you have at best, how many turns? I don't know, maybe 5 turns? That's why I should do it. You know what? If you go on the YouTube link on my YouTube channel, I should put it here. I'm gonna put it on the Twitch channel as well. There is a Google Forms that I made that you can recommend a team that I can use. The reason why we're using poking today is because someone requested it. And yes, we are using poking team. It's poise and sinking. We're poking.
이외에 특별히 첨언할 이유도 없군.
Anyway, so yeah, maintenance is tomorrow, but they use the Korean time for maintenance, so it is today in 3 hours. Well, 2 and 45 hours.
효과적이네요. 이 방식을 기억하는 게 좋겠어요. 운명적인 죽음일세.
굉장해요. Are you up then on Wednesdays? They do. It's today. Today's Wednesday, right? In 3 hours, they're gonna start to update. If you check out previous streams on Wednesday, you see that once or twice I managed to fail to get to the end of the floor before, you know, the maintenance time. That's why I also started doing streams a little bit earlier, so that we have enough time to do these things.
버틀러 차원 가방 준비 완료했습니다.
Look at the Devil Deviate Rhodium meme popped up. Ooh, which one? Ah, right. I forgot about my slideshow here. I gotta add more. I only have 75 slides going down there. I'm getting a new wave of them to mix in the whole thing. Anyway, now that we are full sanity with Dawn, once we target a marked target with the marked skill and she gets 3 graces of the prescript, she no longer will be able to get karmic consequences for not having enough sanity at the time. There's another achievement that I'm planning to do maybe tomorrow if you use another dual status chain, which is getting, what's it called, 10 fusion tier 4 gifts. Since we're gonna get 4 because of the keywords, that only leaves, you know, 6 of them that we could do for whatever. You know, there's supposed to be a different voice line for the Podium guys for the cardboard crumb. There is. They say something like I trusted you, or, you know, I fucked up, but I don't know the actual lines. As expected, our, you know, maintenance crew here is having a hard time. I should only have them. Honestly, I'm gonna let the 2 of them just evade to give us blue resonance. Another thing that I am considering doing in the future is just make book reading streams instead of the reading after the stream, because, well, it's fun, but sometimes, you know, I stream for far too long and I get tired. But I'll consider that in the future, because reading is fun. I'm really enjoying reading Crime and Punishment. It is an excellent book. I just realized the Limbus was a little too loud. Let me lower that. There we go. Yeah, it's literally your pizza in 30 minutes or left, or we kill the delivery boy. And as usual, another thing I want to say is we're not paying much attention to the fights here. Floor 1 is a bit of a joke, unless you're playing solo and you have to, you know, consider what you have to do. And usually what you have to do as a solo in the first floor is just survive. But once we get to actual difficult bosses, because we no longer have Grace of the Stars to help us, we will, you know, discuss strategy, how to use the units. But there really isn't much to do when you use the index, because your actions are already pre-selected for you. That's why I don't like them. They are very in tone with their lore, except for the part that matters, is that all the prescripts you get are use marked attack on marked target. Like, use a skill marked with a marked prescript, or hit a target with marked skill. Use the skill marked on target. Use the skill marked on target. So your actions are already chosen for you. You don't have much in the way of like, I want to do a cool strategy where I use an evade to reload my gun or to apply a mark on the enemy or something like that. You just select the skills that are marked for you. In a certain way, it makes the index the best beginner IDs until you get used to the game, but the problem is that these index IDs that were released are Canto 9 IDs and they are incredibly powerful. If we had the index early on into the game life cycle, they would have been the perfect beginner IDs, because here, use these are the most effective. It's basically a win rate, but not really. Basically a win rate, but not really, because if you use these skills, you get rewarded with damage up, you get rewarded with offense levels, and you do insane damage if you decide to use these. Like, why wouldn't I use these? But what can you... I really don't like the index, as I mentioned before. As a faction, they're cool concept, sure, but personally I don't like them. And, well, what do you expect? It's very in lore to just do what the prescript says. Oh yeah, the Viet Association is great, yeah. It just pumps them full of energy so they can fight faster, run faster, and if they overcharge, they started dying. And here's a funny thing, there are more prescripts when you fight Rian, when Sora. I almost feel like they were going to do more prescripts, but then they decided to not do that because, well... Yeah, give me the damage up. They decided to do that because, well, we already have the whole joke that Project Moon fans cannot read. And so if they added a randomness to the prescripts where you can get a funny prescript here and there, people would flip the shit. Ooh, this is good, but... Yeah, no, let me give me a refresh. Burn. Give me another refresh. Burns, rupture. Upgrade this. Late bloomer. We don't think we have single coin skills except for our Maracas boys. Milarca would be... No, Milarca is for bleed. I'm so conditioned to go for bleed. Yeah, you could have a lot more stuff with the prescript, like use defense, use ego. Some of them sometimes tell you to use ego or skill 3. But it could be stuff like use the defense skill, don't take damage, do X amount of damage. Even if sometimes you get fucked over, but that would be in lore with the index. Sometimes the prescript gives you an impossible prescript and you're gonna have to eat the karmic consequences of not following the prescript. But as you can immediately tell, this would be a bad idea because people would get frustrated and would complain. Same thing with like not being able to read the prescript you got, because it's not... And they could do the same thing they did with Blood Feast. You know how Blood Feast has its own window on the top of the screen, right around here, that tells you how much blood feast you have. If you have units with prescripts, there could be a little window there that showed you all the prescripts you have to complete for each character, and that would be work. Late bloomers tattoo on flex by affinity. Yeah, I remember that just now, but it's already done. The mistake has already been done. Look, description of this channel is video game footage with no skill included, okay? Don't expect me to recreate the game, even though I played for like 2,000 hours. Another thing they could do is that Grace of the Prescript only stacks up to 9, while Karmic Consequences stack up to 100, if I recall correctly. Yeah, it stacks up to 100. I think these should be mirrors to each other, Grace of the Prescript and Karmic Consequences. The harder the Prescript, the more Karma you acquire, and the more Grace you acquire as well. But again, this is not the reality we live in. I think it would be really cool if we had that, but unfortunately we do not, so... As the Furioso thing, the Furioso is tied up to the Hermes Procuration, which is attacking the marked target and using unbreakable coins. That one could remain the same. Basically, the Nurse Fathers all have a nuke skill that is on a timer. Ryoshu has that. Callisto Honglu has that. Our boy here has that. And Matthias is gonna sort of have that as he Otias as she unpacks the sword and uses more. Oh yes, no, the middle team is gonna be busted to hell and back. It's gonna be fantastic. It also makes it very fun to run a mirror dungeon too. Extreme mirror dungeon.
적확한 한압이었어.
아직 5번 더 갈라야만 합니다.
Also, today we're gonna have a big okay. Oh, all right. Prepare yourselves, because today, after the update, it's going to be a 14 gigabyte download. So prepare yourselves, because Limbus company is updating to the newest version of Unity, and they are gonna correct to make the game run smoother apparently. And they're gonna add you know, the railway. They're gonna add OTS, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. 14 gigabytes, yep. Just need to give Mirza the same condition where he uses history for discount depending on the enemy grab. Which Mirza you're talking about? The middle one? Here, you don't believe me? Let me look it up here. Do I do this?
엄청난 공격이었어요.
Find it here for 1 second.
강하실 수 있죠?
Yeah, there you go. Found it. 1 second. I'm looking it up. You guys don't think I'm joking you. Following Unity update. And here you go. Big update. Big boy update. Hell yeah. Now, I don't think the game is going to bloat up to additional 14, but it is going to, you know, download 14, probably replace what it has to replace, and then throw the rest away in the trash. That's usually how they do this stuff. Little brother Merso, yeah, his red skill gains additional coin power based on envy resonance, but it's a red skill. Everyone is kind of expecting OTS to do the same, which kind of puts a, you know, a problem in the whole envy resonance of the team. But I don't think it's gonna be that bad.
그대는 어디까지 정의 마음을 모방하겠어?
All right, go do your funny attack, little man. $1,000. So someone was reduced to a shape down there. Oh yeah, one thing. There was a bit of a strange, weird, busy day for me. I couldn't get the video edited that I want to do for how to beat Matthias without using a counter, which isn't that great of a video. I just wanted to do it. I will try my best to get it done by tomorrow. How do you get him to generate Mang? I don't think he generates Mang, brother. I think he only has Shin. Yeah, he has at unlock 3 he gains Shin Fate, but I don't think he generates any Mang. Yeah, he doesn't generate Mang. Sometimes we see Mang on a few skills. No, actually, I don't think we do see them. Because, for example, Merso, Capo Merso, theoretically he can generate Mang, the original Leihang, but Capo Merso does not have Mang. It seems to be something to do with the ID story itself, because it was explained to us that Mang is something about reflecting on your sins, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. And apparently some people can't. Valentina somehow could do that. And Valentina is Valentina. Alright, let's go for Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen has some great gifts. See if we can get the funny. Oh, we got the freebie true tier 3 gifts. Fuel for the ego furnace. Next time we pop a Furioso, we'll go in slow mode and see if we can see a Mang ring. Because I think it might be just be visual. We haven't reached any ID that can use Mang yet. We have IDs that can use Shin, but not Mang. Because Mang costs sanity to activate. Alright, follow the blue star.
면밀히 짚어보고
Not the one from Lobotomy Corp. It seems like the sinners themselves can't use as long as they have a contract with Dante, but the IDs themselves can use. But it seems that these IDs, for the most part, are in a worse mental position than the actual individuals that they're based off. Or maybe we just see them in a better light because we're actually using them instead of just meeting them in the real world. For example, Rian Iseng here reveals to us that Rian, the actual person, had a fun dungeon in his basement on the House of the Spider where he kept sundry people, as he named it, which is individuals with certain aspects in case he gets a prescript to do something against someone with a certain attribute, like kill a red-haired person or something like that. The problem is, he also had children in that dungeon. Mr. Inconspicuous, 1845. I do believe this is your first time here on the stream. I welcome you. Hello. I feel like Meng might end up being a Durante. You know what? That's a big possibility. That is a big possibility. Especially because, hold on, where's Book? Book time. As we were discussing which next Durante power is going to be, we were looking at the Kabbalistic Tree of Life because it's following the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. More specifically, it is following the Order of the Divine Light. I'm gonna put it on screen on my TV here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's a bit difficult, but you can sort of see it. We started with Keter right here, which is Dante's ability to revive the sinners. I think that's his first Durante power. Then we went for Hokma, which is Pigricia, Superbia on Bina. We went down to Hesed, and then we're gonna get Gebra on the last one. The next one is Tiferet. Tiferet is a strange, one of the most difficult to discuss. What's it called? Find it here. It's one of the most difficult to discuss nodes of the Kabbalah because it's essentially your soul, a midway between the real, the material, and the divine. So it's now that you said it out, that could be the next Dante power. We can give someone the ability to generate Mang or an ID. How would that appear on the character sprite? I don't know, because holy shit, it would be weird. Because they'd have to line up the Mang with the weapons for every character sprite. Or maybe only certain sprites can use it, who knows? We got a nice little explanation about Mang and Tin, which is like what was it called? I'll be ready with some work. Alright, I'll be here for the next 2 hours, about 2 hours, because it's only 5 floors today, some reading, and then I have to do my stuff. Anyway, we got a nice little explanation from Vespa and from Virgilius about Shin and Mang. That is ability to, think back about your sins and self-reflection, essentially. It almost feels like the ability to wield Shin and Mang is similar to the realization we had in Lobotomy Corporation and the core suppressions of Lobotomy Corporation and the realizations in Library of Ruin. I think that looking back to your past, to your sins, to the things that you did, and reaching some sort of closure or realization will allow you to wield those emotions that you felt as these rings of light. essentially you have to go through therapy to be able to use terrible power. So the role of a therapist in the city has just skyrocketed in usefulness.
저희가 이길 것 같아요.
Yeah, it's a bit. If they can do facades, they can do the rings. Yeah, I agree with you. But it's a lot more work because the facades you just have to then play the animations based on the amount of coins. Oh, that party's about to get crazy. He's gonna shake those maracas with the power of a nuclear bomb. No longer the coughing baby, he has become the hydrogen bomb.
엄청난 공격이었어요.
All right, here you go, Furioso time.
저렇게 강하실 수
I
있죠?
don't think you're gonna see the ring. I think he's gonna die before anything happens.
머리통을 박살내주마.
Yeah, he doesn't generate Mang with his scythe, it's only Rian. So, or of course, if you're watching the VOD or the stream on YouTube, that it doesn't generate Mang, man, sorry. Alright, Hell's Kitchen. Bleed gift, I'll take it. Go, Yisang. Go get your bleed gift that we can't use because we're not a bleed team. Although I love bleed. I'm so conditioned for bleed that every time I see a bleed gift, I go for it. Whenever I click to refresh on the store, I almost always go for bleed. Melted Spring, hell yeah. We got Zippo Lighter, also very good. We got Talisman Bundle for free Rupture. Let's enhance what we can here. For example, yeah, this one's better upgraded. And since we got ourselves 2 tier 3 gifts, we can fuse for our poise. Boop, boop. And use this as fuel. Yeah, we can go for that. If we get a rock, I'm gonna be very sad. We didn't get the rock. We got something even better. Alright, our objective here is to try and get both tier 4 gifts active. That will require a lot of ego gifts. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, I'm down with the idea of the Tiferet power being Mang, especially because Tiferet is supposed to be, the midway between the divine part of the Kabbalistic tree of life and the material, since it stands on the middle column between Keter and Malkuth, and Yezod is also there. What is the target? Go nuts.
이번 전투를 잘 마치면 칭찬해주겠어.
예측할 수 없게.
No, just because you're a shitty person doesn't prevent you from generating Mang. If we follow that logic, how the hell did Ahab manifest ego, right? So Rian wanted to. He has reviewed some things in his life. He is a man full of sorrow, which is fitting for the character he's trying to interpret, which is Roland. He tried to, what's it called?
지름대로 움직일 뿐입니다.
He tried to defy the prescript. He wanted to defy the prescript, but couldn't bring himself to do it. He still holds some resentment to that, and in a certain way, you could call that he reached some sort of realization by giving up, because that's essentially what he did. He gave up. And so, reaching a realization doesn't mean like you are a good person or something like that. You just reached a conclusion and that kind of sealed the deal in your mind. You have a strong conviction of that, which kind of overlaps a little bit with ego, but I wouldn't be surprised, for example, when we finally face against Captain Ahab in the future again, that she's not only wielding her ego harpoon with Mang on top of it. Or maybe no, actually no, she might not be able to use Mang because she's so stuck up and she considers herself so justified on everything that she would never, you know, do a double take on anything she ever done in her life. Everything was right and just, and so she is the stronger as an ego user rather than a Mang Shin user.
예측할 수 없게.
Moist. Hello, Danik. It's been a while, my friend.
굉장해요. 부위가 날아갔어요.
I love Wednesdays.
저들의 화만 돋군 것
초월,
같은데요.
지령에게 불확실한 것은
Anyway.
없네.
So yeah, just because you are a terrible person, like say Leihang, doesn't mean you can't reach a realization. Hell, Roland was a bit of a terrible person. Let us not forget, and again, spoilers for Library of Ruina, he pretended to be Angela's friend all that time because one, he couldn't kill her, and two, he wanted to make sure she was the target of his revenge,
꽤 먹혀든 것 같아.
and he still pretended to be her friend up until the end where he betrayed her just so he could kill her at the cusp of her achieving her goal, which was to become human. And he reached his realizations. I'm drawing comparisons here. There's no real thing saying that, oh, a realization allows you to use Shin and Mang, but I take that he would be able to use it after the realizations he went through. If he were to be, say, for some reason he got released into the city after Library of Ruina, because he won't, but imagine if he did, he would be able to wield Shin and Mang. Alright, floor 3. We got Trickled Sanguine Desire of Blood. Tearful Things. I don't like Tearful Things. Let's go fight Cromer. And again, if you think about it, something along those lines, oh, if he could wield Shin and Mang because he went through the realization, how come he couldn't use it on Library of Ruina? Answer is simple. His body on Library of Ruina was reconstructed by Angela, and that probably is interfering. He is basically a construct made by Angela through her ego.
준비 완료했습니다.
I forgot to pack the ham pang pang indeed. What I could attest firsthand that hunger does affect your ability to see things clearly and beat things. Like yesterday where I couldn't beat Callisto because I was hungry. Oh, I was so hungry. Ooh, we're gonna get herself 3 Grace of the Prescript right away. You are going to dodge.
예측할 수 없게.
Speaking of Leihang, people that can use Mang, I forgot to put the little image that I usually put on top of the screen here for putting funny images. So let me go get him real quick,
딱 좋겠어요.
because I think he deserves to be better back in our stream. He will always be with us. So let me go get him real quick. I know I shouldn't be wasting time because today's maintenance day, but I want his presence here haunting us. Ah, that's much better. Much better. Let's put him down here. There we go. That's perfect. It's almost like this slot is made for him, man. Look at that. It's literally made for him. This is his hole. It was made for him. Beautiful. Right, who's the target this time? Who are we gonna violate? You? Yeah. Again, in one aspect, the index is good because you don't have to think about at all how to play with them. Just follow the funny little style. But I like to think. Otherwise, I could just hit wing rate through this dungeon and be done with it. But I like being able to use my images. My sinners. Unfortunately, it is what it is. A sinking poisting is very powerful. They could probably clear the mirror dungeon extreme easily because again, they are a Canto 9 ID. Oh, Yoshihide, I'm a transfer PNG. I'm halting the narrative. Funny time, funny time. Yeah, sure, hit me. It would be so funny if I had a Furioso right now. It would be so funny if I had a Furioso for him to copy.
지령에 따라 참격. 충족. 잠시.
Staggered, can't get your counter out.
더 갈라야만 합니다.
굉장해요.
심장이
죽는 것도 사는 것도
잠깐
지령에 따라. 두렵지 않습니다.
Very nice. This is back when we were still inspired by the Darkest Dungeon. Index ID search, soon trust the plan. I'd rather not, Nick. I like, they're cool-ish, but I don't like their mechanic. Like I explained before in the stream, the prescripts don't offer enough variety. All of the prescripts are not even a variation, it's the same thing. Use the marked skill against the marked target. If you use the marked skill against the marked target, you get good bonuses. If you use the marked skill, you get a bonus. If you attack the marked target, you get a bonus. There's no variation like use a defense, use an ego, evade, block, or deal damage. Don't take damage this turn. And it's, again, something I discussed on the stream earlier. I'll reiterate myself, because why not? I'm here to yap. The fact that the grace of the prescripts cap at 9 and karmic consequences go up to the hundreds, and you need at least 10 karmic consequences to gain any debuff is stupid. They should have been all the same, like you have 100 stacks of grace and 100 stacks of karmic consequences. They escalate the same way. Every 10 you gain a bonus or a debuff for karmic consequences, and every 20 you gain a stronger bonus or a stronger debuff. You get more varied prescripts other than use the marked skill or attack with the marked target. And the more difficult that prescript, the higher the karmic consequences and the higher the grace of the prescripts you get. This way you are playing a ID, do what is being told for you to do, which is the index, and you get bonus. If you fail to do that, sometimes because they give you an impossible one or something that is too difficult to be done consistently, that's where the index fail as a faction. That's their weakness, because if they can't complete their prescripts, they don't get their buffs. How many consequence directly affects grace of the prescript? No. It really doesn't. Unless I misread something about the kit. Karmic Consequence only gives you defense level downs. Fragile, I believe, at max stacks. I'm gonna go check it out real quick here. Passives. There you go. For him specifically for a chance of a different weapon, but let's look at her. It only affects your defense skill, which reduces the amount of shields you gain, and Karmic Consequences is gain 1 defense level down every 10 stacks and gain 1 fragile at 20 stacks, has a maximum stack of 100. So at 100 you get 5 fragile and 10 defense level down, which makes you fragile and all that. Oh, it should have been that, yeah. Either that or both of them together. I think both of them together would have been better. We need more retreated gimmicks in this card? Absolutely agree. I talked about this before, but we have a little corner here on the screen, or where Lady Hang is currently occupying, that we could use for strategic Dante options. Because right now, we have only a few units that are able to retreat. That being, from the top of my mind, every single Heisho if Lord Lu is present, Heathcliff when he runs out of bullets, Shishung Ishmael when she uses her defense after 3 turns, and that is the only units we get that are able to retreat. Now, I fully believe that Dante... Pierce Ego. I don't want a Pierce Gift. Gimme. Anyway, Dante should be able to use the Ego resources for more than just, say, a Ego attack. Once we get to the boss fight, I'll elaborate a little bit more. But we should have more tactical options. That would be great. Oh boy! It's kind of useless for a team, but I'll take it. Come on, give me something good. Give me poise. Fungality. Let's fuse then. If you can't get what we want, we'll fuse. So let's focus on poise first. Let's put the chicken tender here. We avoided the fight against this abnormality because we don't make use of Tremor and we're not going for floor 10. So, and now we got the gift that I avoided getting. Thank you, game. Fine. I'll do a little wish making. Is that what you want of me, game? Nebulizer. I like Nebulizer. And let's see. Yeah, that's good for now. Anyway, back here on the fight. Let's go fight Cromer. So,
이번에 읽어줄 동화책은 이것으로.
I talked about this before, but if I had my hands and I could code and make the stuff, but then again, this is the director's game. He does whatever he wants. I would add a little bit of a menu on the corner here, which would allow you to use your ego resources to do certain actions. Let's say you can force one of your units to use an assist defense with their defensive skill. So let's say I use Sloth and Sloth Pride to force Mariachi Sinclair to use his defense skill as an assist defense if someone is getting attacked one-sidedly. So once the battle starts, he will jump in front of that person to save them with their defense skill, and because we use resources, he could use that defense skill again to defend himself if he himself is being attacked. We could have ego resources like Wrath be consumed to give a character that does not have access to a counter, something very basic without any special effects. This way you could make full use of block, counter, evade, the clashable versions of block and counter, but they wouldn't be super powerful like an ID that already has that defensive skill as part of their kit. But you could have the option to use that. You could also use ego resources to tell one unit at the end of this turn to retreat and bring back someone from the reserve. I think these should be options here that you could click, select the unit, kind of like how you have Durante powers, but this is literally just tactical skills you can use. They're not super powerful game changers like these, but they would help a lot. Say I don't want my Index Iseng to die in this battle because he's like at 10 HP. So I tell him, do a forced retreat, go to the back of the line, and if the battle goes on or I tell someone to retreat, eventually I can cycle back to him. Because the only ID that currently can do that is Lord Lu. And Lord Lu, it requires the Heishos to be able to do that. You see what I mean? We already have like offset guards, which is okay, but yeah, it would be nice if you could do that. You know, have these options. It's something I also wished for in LobCorp is a bit more of an RTS. I wouldn't say abilities, but sort of. Because you know how when we're playing RTS, you can select a group of units, press Ctrl 1 or whatever the game equivalent, and make a squad. If you're, say, playing Lobotomy Corporation and I make a squad of nuggets that all use red damage, I press Ctrl 1 and on the top of the screen or somewhere along the lines it drops down a little marker, and when I click that marker it selects all of those nuggets that were in that group. I think that would be fucking excellent. That would be a, I wouldn't say a game changer, but more of a quality of life kind of thing. It would be really good because, say, I need to do red damage against a creature that is weak to red damage, so I select my red damage squad and I send them to combat. Something that a, you know, you're in the position of a manager in Lobotomy Corporation, for example, should have access to, like you were playing a real-time strategy game, even though you can pause. That having those tactical options would be fantastic, and I would love it to happen. But that is my idea of how we should have more options to in the combat. And this is someone that has been playing the game for 2,000 hours, and I am getting a little, you know, exhausted of the game. It's great, I love it. I'm gonna keep playing it for as long. I'm gonna keep doing my daily streams, but I wish I get the taste. I want more. I want something more, and the updates are a bit slow. Of course, they're changing their base of operations. They're going for the new studios. I think, at least, that the update frequency is going to increase once they get their own studio, but that's only next year, so it's, you know, a couple of months to go before they get to that point. But I have great expectations for them once they do change studios. They'll be able to work better. I think he's gonna extend the amount of people that he has under his employment. Don't know, but it would be great. Soon we'll have the theme park. Soon we'll have the anime. Soon we'll have the fighting game as well, the action game. All right, what's the target? That. All right, we attack the target, we follow the funny blue star because that deals the most damage. And since we have two sinners that are able to dodge and are mostly here just to give us support, we don't have to worry about her wrath skills. Here we go.
제
부위 파괴. 돛대를 부러뜨리는 것만큼 중요한 한
I
방.
already showed off here on stream the Risk of Rain mod, which is excellent. I'm gonna show it again. I don't know if you all watched that, but I'm gonna show it again because it is fucking fantastic. Give me a second. To be able to show something on stream, I have to do some fit angling. So 1 second here, your videos. Middle to Sue, indeed. Won't be rolling for her. You know how I am. I do not gamble. I am not gambling, rambling man. So I'm gonna wait patiently for a week till I get her. There we go. Everything's gonna happen. Just give it some time. Yes, yes. Everything does happen. All right, floor 4. Let's take a look at what we got. I kind of want to go Nocturnal Sweeping because I love the music. Give me a refresh. I'm wondering doubt. We could go here. Well, who we fight here? Oh, it's the... It's not any on special here. Let's go Addicting Lust. Right, let me just fidangle with my things here. If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna show again the Risk of Rain True mod showing the red mist. So I'm gonna go over here, re-enable desktop audio, put on display capture, and man, I'm gonna show it again because I really had a fun time with this mod. Danik, I think you played Risk of Rain with me at some point in the past. Don't know if you played with the Risk of Ruina mod, but it is a great mod. I highly recommend it. The audio is a bit low because I didn't record it with this was an old ass recording of mine, but man, did I love this mod. What made Risk of Rain True bearable for me, and it is unique. It's not just a reskin of a character, it's a full animated character for the Arbiter, for the Red Mist. It is just fun. It is amazing. And I'm gonna shill it again, and if I am reminded at the end of the stream, I am going to link it in the comment for the stream, so you too can find it. It's on Thunderstore, you can find it really easy. But man, it was great. It was a great time. Eventually I got tired of Risk of Rain because there is many things I dislike about Risk of Rain. Yeah, but it's the same mod, Nick. It's the very same mod. But man, it was a good time. You can see it for yourself. It's great. Look at that shit. You got the directional attacks. She has a dodge that makes her invulnerable. She has horizontal split. She has onrush, which you kill an enemy, you get to use it again. When you're in the red mist mode, you automatically link to one enemy to the other. It's fantastic. I love it. I will show this to the end of days. Anyway, back to Limbus. Just close it here. We're at floor 4. This is... I don't remember who this is. I think it's Rose Hunter? Yeah, it's Rose Hunter. We're fine.
준비 완료했습니다.
He only has one body part. All right.
다들
Again,
기세등등하네요.
if you ever interested in running this very same team that we are running right now, ooh, we're getting some difficult fight here. Struggling with the index of all people, we're struggling. It's because we didn't choose our race of the stars. And he has only one body part, so every slot counts. Let's see if they can pull it off. We are going to be using the mark kill here, so regardless of what happens, we are going to get our grace of the prescript. So let's rock it.
참격.
Faust did it. Very good, Faust. Yiseng didn't. Ooh. Dawn didn't. We're powered up. Didn't gain any karmic consequences because we did target the enemy. So he's still the marked one, so we do not care, we do not mind. Yes, our boy here, the little German boy, is just going to stay here and get squeezed. As for you, you dodge. You know what? You dodge the unbreakable coin because I don't want to get hit by the unbreakable coin. How about that? You know what? I kind of like this. If I'm running a full team, if I don't raise the first crits, the floor 4 enemies actually become a little bit more interesting. For a little bit, because depending on the IDs that we're using, they kind of fall apart once we get the buffs going. But that's the same for every other team. Unless we're running a solo, I am going to stop taking Grace of the Stars and the Starting Eagle Gift because it just makes things a little bit more interesting, a little bit less spicy. And in some fights, I actually have to pay some attention instead of just, you know, do this, target the enemy, or basically ring rating, but not really. Very good.
느낄 수 있겠죠.
Oh, yeah. Go, little German boy. Do your thing. Pin out the party.
생각보다
He's
쉬웠어.
surprisingly doing good. He's surprisingly doing good. You two just stay there and keep dodging those vines. Become modern art. See here, here. Ooh, we're slower than you are, aren't we? Hold on then. Magical arrows, tell me what my enemy intends to do with me today. Here, we can... Taos has 2 attacks going for her, so let's take care of those. The other one is this one, right? Yeah. You use the marked one for extra buffs. We can redirect 1 attack from here. This thing is being targeted by 1, and you can redirect that one. Meaning Dawn gets a free hand. Yeah, Dawn gets a free hand. Since these attacks are faster, and whenever you use a defense skill, the speed value from the attacker takes precedence over your defense skill, as long as you are clashing against it, means these two will dodge these attacks first, and assuming they don't lose the clash from the evade, the follow-up attack here for Ishmael will also be evaded, because this one goes first, and since we're using a defense skill, it gives priority to the speed of the enemy. And then this one is slower, so it's gonna go second, and then do here. Meaning again, Dawn has a free attack on our enemy. Where is Dawn anyway? There she is.
그대는 어디까지 각오했을지. 그랬었지. 앞으로 하나.
I don't think it's gonna reach that point because we're probably gonna kill him before, but let's see. Dodged. Yep, nope, that's before he could do anything. Again, I like to say to everyone that I don't usually consider the enemy's HP when I'm doing my, thinking strategy, big brain mode during the fight. Because for me, everything is a 50% chance, 50-50. If the enemy, if either something happens or doesn't. If I hit the enemy and he's still alive, it means he didn't die. So that's a 50%, 50-50. Everything is 50-50. Either happens or don't. So I never consider how much help the enemy has, only if I can win or lose the clash or not. And so as long as the enemy is still standing, I am going to keep bashing his head in until he stops moving. Now, let's get that 1% gift, shall we? As expected. Either it happens or it doesn't. Everything is a 50% chance. Let's go for the dangerous combat here down below for more money. And because unfocused encounter, and we have a full team, we don't have to worry about it too much. Because goddamn, I have professed my hatred for unfocused encounters when doing solos or duos, because we simply do not have slots to survive. Again, really wish that one of the tactical options we could have is to give a solo character more slots. Blade of the House of Spiders Ryoshu has that for her gift, I think. For her gift of her passive, if she manages to kill 2 Nurse Fathers, which makes her incredibly fun to play as a solo, because she can actually fight these fights instead of just being a one-sided slaughter for her.
머리통을 박살내주마.
I will never understand her flip. It makes no sense. It's not something that does like a big explosion of power or particle effect. It just does a flip and hits you over the head with a mana force. I guess it's kind of like a jump attack. Ow.
지름대로 움직일 뿐입니다.
최고의 선택이었어.
I am still thinking about that idea I had for a 2D beat 'em up like Golden Axe, you know? Imagine we have the fighting sprites. We don't have a moving sprite that everyone in Limbus company moves by sliding around. Imagine if it had a little video game, a fun game really, where you could control a sinner like you were playing Golden Axe, Streets of Fury, Double Dragon, or something like that. Side scroller beat 'em up, you know? It would be fantastic. It would be fun. Again, we do have the sprites, we just don't have them moving around or someone with the ability to make a game like this to do it. If I had the ability, I say this, I can develop the ability to make such a fun game. I would love to make such a fun game. The problem is that I'm already struggling with all the things I have to do with streaming, editing my videos, studying for college, giving my morning classes because that's my job as a teacher, and, you know, taking care of the house, cleaning, cooking, doing stuff. Hey, we got a new subscriber. I didn't pay attention. I didn't hear the warning effect. Remind me to go back on the screen and look at that. If you are Gambling Beast as the latest subscriber, thank you so much. If you aren't, well, thank you for Gambling Beast anyway, because you can subscribe to people on YouTube without letting the streamer know who you are. It's like a secret subscription. But again, I will mention that I have here on my recording software a tab that shows me how many subscribers I have at the moment. Whenever the number goes up, I can see, but I can't see who it is unless if you decided to go stealth mode. But anyway, whoever you are, thank you so very much. Tomorrow my school has a teacher's meeting. I'm gonna be there at 2 p.m. Moises, allow me to remind you of something. I hope you are in college as an adult, right? You are in college as an adult, because under all technicalities, Limbus Company is an 18+ game. So, as one of the chat rules that are written in the description of this every stream, no minors are allowed here. So, I'll take it that you're an adult, right? You're in college. If you are a minor, I will ban you on site. Unfortunately, I got a little boink from YouTube telling me stuff like this today. I checked my email and there we go. You stream this, make sure that your audience is, 18+. So, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Oh, those are stars. Those are stars. Give me your stars. Again, we have another reference of stars here. Again, with the I'm really curious about the Pinky and their star blades. I guess I can say that. I will choose to believe you, but, pay attention, all right? I choose to believe you. I think you said your birthday was recent, so, we have to conform to a certain boring, certain annoying parts of reality with good cause sometimes. All right, let's view some poise gifts. We have... I completely forgot how to make the tier 4 gifts because I've been using solos or not complete things that I don't remember the... It's 4-leaf clover, the tier 2 poise that gives you extra... Not this one. What was the formula? What was the method that we actually used this one? Some tube is kind of worthless. And just got... That's not what I was looking for, but I'll take it. Yep. We got recollection of a certain day. We can use it. No, we're missing Pendant of Nostalgia. That's right. I'm starting to remember the recipes now. We need Pendant of Nostalgia. I'll sacrifice the damage up because that would be much more powerful, honestly. And Pendant of Nostalgia. There we go. We can use this one. And we can fuse this one, and getting a gift already active. We're growing stronger. Now, there is one more poise gift that we can do, and one more sinking gift that we can do. Good job. We're well within time. Good.
이번에도
Good.
지령의 뜻은
Again,
본인과
we're only going
같은
to do 5 floors today, maintenance day and all that. But in the future, I am, what's it called? You know what? I should delete that comment, but since you did mention that most moderation is done in AI now, but I'm gonna delete it anyway. Sorry. You are legal age. You told your 18th birthday was it. Let's stop talking about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Limbus. That's what's important here. Fuck that. Crazy weather we're having, huh? Apparently Europe is melting. This happens every year, doesn't it? Europe starts melting because it's too hot. Who knows? Really doing a great.
초월, 지령에게 불확실한 것은 없네. 바람도 딱 좋네.
Right, target the funny blue star. And with the true extra slot we have from the true extras we have on this team, we go for the other two. And this is, again, the marking of the star. As we have revealed the index units before, I'm gonna talk about the index again. Their numbers aren't really that crazy. They're rolling incredibly high right now because they have the tier 4 gear. But their numbers aren't exactly crazy. It's just that they gain so much damage up and offense level up that they roll like crazy. They hit like crazy. I saw someone on the blasted wasteland that is Twitter nowadays saying, hey, remember how skill 1s will roll a maximum of like 12? And if you have been around the streams here in all of our reviews, you see that skill 1s are rolling higher than 12 all the time because of escalation. Alright, I think that will kill him. If it doesn't, well, too bad. Honestly, running this team with like 5 characters is doing incredibly well because the 3 goobers from the index, they target a specific part or a specific enemy, and whatever is on the runoff from the rest of the skill slot can be handled by the 2 of them. The 2 support characters.
아직 5번 더 갈라야만 합니다. 굳이 직접 목격하지 않아도
See?
느낄 수 있겠죠.
Alright, let's get ourselves a chance for Eagle Gift. Nah. 50% chance. I already have Devil's Share. Let's give the enemy a little bit of offense level up and increase their damage. Increase their they deal in less than they want to take. Alright, final floor. We could go for Masquerade. I think that would be a nice final challenge for us. But I don't have any AoE egos to make use of it, so it will be difficult to fight the Envy Pecatulus. You know what? I want to hear the cool song. So, talking about the Sinking Poise team, which is the objective of the string after all, they are very good. Any team that you can deploy that can use true keywords is going to become very powerful the more you escalate. I would say it's even better for Mirror Dungeon Extreme than a solo run. Even though the solo one, you accumulate all the power in a single sinner, that is exactly the problem. You have a single sinner and a single skill slot depending on the fight. When you have a full team, especially a team that can use true keywords, they have access to 4 tier 4 gifts that are incredibly powerful. Who's the one that is marked? That guy? Alright. You get to die first. Let's see. I don't mind taking a few hits. She's being targeted by 2 defenses. Who's targeting? Faust. Gone. You know what? I'd rather not get hit by paralysis. We don't have any egos equipped to make use of our ability to. Oh. Is there any attack that. Hold on. Clear? Any attack that are targeting you? Yes. Here it is, hopeless, but you can evade, and that's fine. Moving up to here, we have one attack on the back right there. Here we have no attacks, but you can redirect attacks, so please do. And the rest of you go here and here. Very good. Not swap places with Rian, because if you hit the marked target with your marked skill, you actually get the go into demon mode.
그대는 어디까지 각오했을지.
필연적 절대적. 본인이 방금 뭘 본 것인가? 엄청나게 강한 일격을.
Bad. Demon mode activated. With no karmic consequences because we're at full sanity. Alright, next target please. Target is this guy, and we do have an extra attack slot now. So we're gonna have a Rian Sang attack that guy to get his 3 grades to the prescripts together with Dawn. Rian Sang is then gonna take up a skill slot here, here. You're gonna attack here, and you with your 3 speed are going to evade once again. That means all attacks are accounted for. We're just gonna attack the same target because it's funny.
어디까지 각오했을지.
I'm willing to try this thing again on a extreme mirror dungeon because that will be incredibly busted. Because again, if you're doing a mirror dungeon extreme, I am going to activate every Grace of the Stars, which will allow us to gain infinite ego gifts and get all the 4th tier gifts that we need, and also do the achievement for getting all of the 10 tier 4 gifts.
저 사람들
Alright, now we have counters on the field. Counters are hurt, and we cannot evade counters. Now, one thing that I'm going to talk about in the video that I'm preparing, how to beat Mafias without eating a counter, is exactly that. If an enemy has a counter equipped and you hit them, they are going to use the counter. You cannot offset it, you cannot dodge it, you cannot guard against it. You are going to take the hit, whatever you do. The only exception for that is when the enemy has an unbreakable coin, like Mafias. These guys do not have unbreakable coins, mindful. And so, the moment we win that clash against them, we're gonna hit them, and then they're gonna hit us with that powerful counter. Fortunately, there is nothing we can do but to take the hit. An option you can do, if you are able to, is to kill them before they use the counter, or stagger them. That is not an option we have right now, so we are going to be eating 3 counters today. Maybe 2 because one of them is low health. That is the middle gimmick. That's how they operate. Bap. Bap. That particular counter they have is very powerful because it inflicts 3 paralysis next turn, and it raises your stagger threshold, making you more likely to be staggered by the counter or by follow-up attacks. In this case here, we are just going to kill the guy with the counter. First with you, and then you target that guy so you can get your 2nd level unlock. The rest of you go deal with these guys. Hopefully the ones that aren't paralyzed right now. I do believe you have 3 levels of paralysis. No, actually no. Is it next turn or this turn? Next turn. You should be paralyzed. Interesting. Dawn got 5 karmic consequences. I don't know why. I did attack with a marked skill, didn't I? Ah, hello Carmen, how you doing?
아무튼 놀라운 한방이네요.
Unfortunately, my very good, very nice cigar is at its end. The Gambling Beast. I have the funniest subscriber names. The 100 subscriber, if you recall, was called Goober. And then we got the Gambling Beast today. Mareka time! Well done, Sinclair. Do it again. Hell yeah, true staggers. That German boy has moves.
최고의 선택이었어.
You got more karmic consequences? Did you fail to use your attack? Interesting. No, don't matter. Rian, how is your Grace of the Prescript? It's at 6, and you're at unlock level 2, meaning you can get your final level of Procuration Hermes very, very soon. How about we accelerate it by having you hit against Werner, which is your marked target. In fact, let's have everyone attack Werner. Why not? We have staggered enemies that can be dealt with by the rest of our team. The backup crew.
그대는 어디까지 각오했을 때.
Next turn is a Furiosa Werner. If you're alive by then, you're gonna feel Wrath and Hellfire. Oh, I know I'm getting the karmic consequences. It's because I think on unlock level 2 or 6 Great Prescript, you have to use a skill tree or an ego. Fairly sure. I might be mistaken. Because it usually doesn't matter. By that time, you're gonna have a skill tree. Let me check. She has 15, yeah, because her prescript is... Hold on, where's the prescript? Hit a target with an Ego Awakening skill or any fluorescent Ego Progression skill tree marked with Mark of the Prescript. And she doesn't have it. So there we go. That's why it was happening. Unfortunately, it's time. You know what it is. It is time for Furioso. So I think it's gonna wipe everyone out, to be entirely honest, though. So there it is. There is but one way to get karmic consequences, even if you're following the blue star, but it's very unlikely, which is on the 6th Grace of the Prescript, you have to use either a skill tree or a ego skill. That is for Dawn, really. Alright. It's time to recreate the most interesting event in the Middle's history, where we sent Roland to wipe out an entire group of people from the Middle. Are there any survivors? Yes, surprisingly. Good enough. Get your mask out, Yi-Seng. Knowing that the IDs do leave some lingering memories and side effects on the sinners when they remove it, do you think Yi-Seng gets a lot of phantom pain from the wound when he gets out? There's a lot of comics coming around of OT as an Ishmael where, you know, they have those lingering side effects and they're literally like acting buddy-buddy with each other. Then they realize that, oh, we're no longer wearing it. Oh, you're definitely a Mao for another branch. Definitely. Yi-Seng, go lie. There's a Bolush. Right, unfocused encounter time. We are well within time, because again, full team makes a mirror dungeon extremely fast, especially when it's a powerful team like this. That means we're gonna have to be able to read our book really soon. Again, not going to floor 10 today, although I wish to go for floor 10 to get all the Eagle gifts. This is not the stream for it. I do need a pause for like floor 10 and floor extremes, since the last 2 streams have been 4-hour long streams for Limbus only, and that's the only thing I'm streaming right now because of time constraints. So we're gonna do a few 5 floors, just easy peasy. When we get to the weekend, we can do another Mirror Dungeon Extreme or other games. Again, I'm gonna make another Google form if you have a game that if I have that game, you want to suggest me playing it, I might consider it, because we gotta start diversifying our stock a little bit. Even though new content is coming out tomorrow, today technically, for Limbus Company, and I will be streaming the Railway probably on this weekend, trying my best to beat it under the timer to get the reward for it. Hopefully not going to be a Ricardo situation where we beat it by luck of him having enough bleed to make it work, you know? I do want to play other games. I want to finish I Divine Servermancy, which I didn't install. I need to reinstall it. Even though no one likes watching, I don't want to stream it. Say I did my part, and I want more people to play I Divine Servermancy. Despite being an old janky game, I love it. It was one of my foundational games. I think it was one of my first games on Steam too, if I'm not entirely correct. My first game on Steam was Castle Crashers. Sometimes I still pop it and play it because it's still fun. And now there is like custom characters you can make on it. So I wonder if someone made a Limbus one yet, so we can play as Heathcliff or something. I should check. I know there is a I Divine Servermancy mod made by the most excellent, most amazing culture representative Boxy. Boxy actually hosts a Syndicate Black Ops gameplay every Friday, which I've considered doing a stream on at some times. Syndicate Black Ops is a very interesting little mod for Half-Life, which plays sort of like a tower defense game, but instead of placing towers, you are the horde of enemies trying to get past the towers to achieve an objective. It's a little bit frustrating, but it's a bit of a fun game, kind of. You play with other people, you don't play it solo. Hey, tendon slice. That's an effect you can get on the tabletop. Huh. So that's where the name came from. Alright, it's Furioso time. You know what's going to happen now. We do have a skill tree, and she's at 6 grace. 6 or 4? 4 graces. What's a prescript? Gal, hit a target with a skill marker with marker prescript. Okay. It's called hit with a skill, not use it. So there is minor variations that still play around just hit the enemy. Ah, that is most accurate. Because we already have the clear water called Mirror, I keep forgetting the name of that gift. We are getting some real good offense level up, so even if you're not taking Grace of the Prescripts, Grace of the Stars, not the Prescripts, which would be fun if the God of the City are just stars as well, or part of the Blue Man's Rush, but regardless. I keep confusing the two, but they kind of work the same way, honestly. The buff you can get. I am looking forward for book reading, by the way. Like I said, I really enjoy reading Crime and Punishment. It is an excellent, excellent book. Highly recommend if you can read it on your own, or just watch me read it. I'm still getting better at reading the whole thing. I realize I have to mute Limbus, even though I want to keep the background on. Alright, let's go. Tangled Bones, because we can use. We don't use Bleed, Grandeur, we use Sinking, hell yeah. Keyword Refresh for Sinking. Rags, Skeletal Crumbs, Headless Portrait. I'm gonna have to sell for Headless Portrait. No, Skeletal Crumbs, sorry. We don't need this because don't use Rupture. We would need this if we're doing a floor 10, but we're not, so we don't need it. Skeletal Crumbs. Let's see if we can fuse some Sinking. Oh, we can get the Sinking Gift, hell yeah. Tier 4 Sinking Gift active. Very cheap to do too, which is surprising. Let's go for Poise again. Toss this battery in there. Toss this bandages. I don't remember the recipe for the other tier 4 Ego Gift for Poise, so let me consult the manual real quick. So that is Casket, Angel, and Endorphin. We have Casket. We have Angel, we need Endorphin Kit, so that's a tier 3 gift that we need to get. Let's sacrifice something for a tier 3. Here we go. And we got Fitting Fungality. Fitting Fungality is good, but not what we're looking for. Oh well, we got 2 tier 4 gifts active, so that is more than enough. And a tier 4 from Thinking. That is overkill to clear the floor 5. Again, anything that can use 2 keywords is incredibly, incredibly powerful. We forgot to heal, but I think we're gonna be fine. It's just the sweepers. even if it's the Bokgak sweepers, which are an empowered version of the previous sweepers, we're still playing with the index and with the full thing. I don't think we got any healing gifts or ego attacks, so they actually have a chance of victory here by grinding us down, and they do start with the same amount of lots as we do, so it's a fair fight. It's a fair fight. But again, we are starting off kind of weak. Kind of weak as we roll a 37. The trash disposal. So good. So far, so good. Do we have any trash disposal? We do, and it's going for Sinclair. Sweep the back streets, sweep the back streets, sweep the back streets, trash disposal, evade, and extract fuel, and do evade as well. If they can evade, they're mostly here for support, really. Even if they do die during this fight, the effects of the gift remain active, so it doesn't matter. As long as we enter the fight with 5 individuals of a keyword, we still get to use it. Here we go. Let's see. Sweep, Knight, Glided, extract fuel, and extract fuel. Here we go. Is Ishmael gonna get staggered from this? No, she's fighting. Well, she is a voice singing, so she gets the benefits as well. Even if she's a 0-0 ID, she's getting some hefty power-ups. But she got staggered. Faust got staggered. That is 2 less skill slots we're getting. But so is the enemy? No. Let's see. Extract fuel. Trash disposal. This could potentially destroy us if we don't stagger or kill him, but he's on low health, so he's not gonna pop it off. Trash disposal going on prescript here, so we're just gonna use it. Let's bet that she can kill us before she gets trash disposed. That attack is dangerous. It is a skill tree, so big chance of killing the guy before he can pop it off. Yeah, there we go. Nothing to worry about. With two crafted tier 4 gifts and the tier 4 for boys, we are good. We are more than good. We could probably go to floor 10 like this, and we'll only get stronger as we go. But again, we're not going to do this maintenance day. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe, just maybe. Don't want to do a lot of 4-hour streams, but still. I gotta start. I never saw the appeal until now of running dual status teams, but here we are. It is very broken. I guess I kind of wanted to do that because they're releasing more and more, you know, dual status units, so you can, you know, make the best of it out of the dungeon. Are we Furioso? No, you're not. Ooh, struggling. I think it will be fine. Except for these two. These two have to dodge. Give us more Gloom Resonance so we get powered up. Kill! Very good. I was questioning why didn't she get staggered before. I remember we have manner-shaped music box. Oh, you poor fools from the sweepers. You are gonna get Furioso now. There we go. 29 coins. I wish we could do Clash faster. Again, I wish we could Clash faster based on haste and offense level difference. Because you know how some units in the story and some bosses as well they flash much faster because it's supposed to show how strong they are. We should be able to get that based on our offense level and haste to truly show that we're fast. It would be incredibly funny to see something like She Association Dawn
상처를 기억해.
flashing at light speed because she can get easily like 100 haste really easy. The waves are here. They are our destiny. But our destiny is ending, Phoenix. I'm sorry, but the waves are carrying our destiny away. The waves of Bungo.
이기 심장이 순간적인 기.
Look at him go.
이기 심장이 잠깐적. 이기 심장이 잠깐적.
Send in the next wave, please. There should be a extreme pack for the extreme dungeon that you fight like 6 waves of sweepers.
운전의 위대한 일격을 기록하는 중간에 이따가 버스에서 회고해야
Or more. Just like a metric shit ton of sweepers.
예측할 수 없게
9 turns.
이기 심장이
수행되었습니다.
이기 심장이 잠깐적. 이기 심장이
Very
이
good.
공격은 꽤 먹혀진 것 같아요.
Oh, we got another Furiosa. Would you look at that? Because we have plenty of enemies to hit and a shit ton of slots, we get our Procuration Hermes very quickly. So, time to finish them off. It's also a shame that we go... Alright, one of the criticisms I do have about Rhysang, despite everything I said about the index being really powerful, is the fact that he gets more than one Furiosa, while some of the other Nurse Fathers, namely Callisto Honglu, only gets one use of their closing time, and it's just a enhanced version of his skill tree. It is very powerful and given a permanent buff, but you get to only use it once. So if you use it at the wrong time, you will get punished for it. And that is it. We're not going for floor 10s, I'm sorry, because we are on timer here. We did it in the 2 hours, so as always, I do give my thoughts about it. A poking team, Poison Sinking, is very powerful. As with any team that uses true keywords, you get to benefit from 2 sets of ego gifts and 2 sets of tier 4 gifts. Of course, the index is incredibly powerful. We can see by the damage disparity between Dawn, Faust, and Yiseng in this case here, because Yiseng is supposed to be broken. He's a Nurse Father after all. If he wasn't strong, what's the point of releasing the Nurse Father ID if he wasn't as strong as he is? Once again, we are preparing ourselves for a probable, most likely difficulty spike on Canto 10, so you all should be preparing. As for the other 2 here, we already seen them before. They are nothing special. They were mostly here to make up space since they are a poise and sinking IDs, so they can give support to these 3 here. But it kind of worked because anytime the index hard focus on a single enemy, we could have these 2 here take the attacks from an enemy and evade it, which is very nice. In any case, that is it for our mirror dungeon of today. Just a very simple 5 floor with a poking team. Nothing much to say more about that. We're only going to play a single one because I'll do this every day so I get more out of it by doing 1 per 1. Now we are going to do our nerd shit. I'm sorry if you're here for gameplay. We are pretty much through here with gameplay. Now we're going to sit back, have a nice time, and we're going to read another chapter of Crime and Punishment, Rhodia's book, and realize how dirty she was done on her own canto. Which, again, I expect she gets something really nice once we get to Purgatory. Because right now we're on the Inferno, and Dante's Inferno has pretty much three major arcs. Inferno, Paradiso, and Purgatory. Not in that order, but here we go. I'm gonna put Rhodia's face here for everybody to see. Look at this creature, the axe murderer herself. I am going to go ahead and mute Limbus Company real quick. And we are going to open up our book reading window. Let me load up the book, which I should have loaded up before, but I didn't. and let's read the next chapter. Where is my books here? Rodion. We are at page 140, if I'm not mistaken, out of 400. Right. I found it. All right, let me put it up. There it is, book time. So again, if you're here for gameplay, it's time to go. Thank you so much for watching the stream. Right now, we're gonna read. So if you like the stream, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're leaving. Recommend it to your friends, but if you didn't like it, recommend it to your enemies. All of that, and let's get to reading. Last time on Crime and Punishment, make sure everything is working here. Last time on Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov was in his room. Razumikin pretty much moved in to talk to him. He learned about everything that Raskolnikov has been doing. The IOU he gave to the landlady, the promise of marriage with the landlady's daughter, and then she died. And then Raskolnikov didn't want to clear the room, and the lady became fearful of him and handed over the IOU to a businessman who immediately cashed in with the police. And now Razumikin uses some of the money he got from his mother to buy him a set of new clothes, so he looks like a decent human being again. And all of this that is happening, the money he received, the Razumikin coming in to help him, to give him work, as you're going to see, pretty much rendered the crime he committed, the murder of the moneylender and her her sister, which was a nice, very kind lady, which was suffering the hand of the moneylender, kind of pointless. So is now dealing with his own consciousness. Here we go. Chapter 5 of Part 2 of Crime and Punishment. Oh yeah, and last time the medic just arrived in to talk to him. I think it's the medic. In any case. Chapter 5. He was clearly no longer a young man. He looked stiff and portly and had a cautious, sour expression on his face. He began by stopping short in the doorway, staring around himself with offensive and undisguised astonishment, as though asking himself what kind of place he had come to. Mistrustfully, pretending to be alarmed and almost affronted, he scanned Raskolnikov's low and narrow cabin. With the same amazement he gazed at Raskolnikov, who lay undressed, disheveled, unwashed on his miserable dirty sofa, staring at him fixedly. Then, with the same deliberation, he scrutinized the improper, untidy figure and unshaven face of Razumikin, who looked at him boldly and inquiringly, the face without rising from his seat. A constrained silence lasted for a couple of minutes, and then, as expected, some scene-shifting occurred, reflecting probably from certain fairly unmistakable signs that he would get nothing in this cabin by attempting to overawe them. The gentleman softened his somewhat and civilly, and though with some severity, emphasizing every syllable of his question, addressed Zosimov. Rodion Romanovich Raskolnikov, a student or former student? Zosimov made a slight movement, and would have answered if Razumikin had not anticipated him. Ah, here he is, lying on the sofa. What do you want? The familiar "what do you want" seemed to cut the ground from under the feet of the pompous gentleman. He was turning to Razumikin, but checked himself in time and turned to Zosimov again. This is Raskolnikov, mumbled Zosimov, nodding towards him. Then he yawned long and hard, opening his mouth as wide as possible, lazily putting his hand into his waistcoat pocket, pulled out a huge gold watch in a round hunter's case, opened it, looked at it, and slowly and lazily put it back. Raskolnikov himself lay without speaking, on his back, gazing persistently at the stranger, though without any understanding. Now that his face was turned away from the strange flower on the wallpaper, it was extremely pale, with a look of anguish, and though he had just undergone an agonizing operation, or just been taken from the rack. But the newcomer gradually began to arouse his attention, then his wonder, then his suspicion, and even alarm. When Zosimov said, this is Raskolnikov, he jumped up quickly, sat on the sofa, and with an almost defiant but weak and breaking voice, articulated, "Yes, I am Raskolnikov. What do you want?" The visitor scrutinized him and pronounced impressively, "Peter Petrovich Luzin, I believe I have reason to hope that my name is not wholly unknown to you." But Raskolnikov, who had expected something quite different, gazed blankly and dreamily at him, making no reply, as though he was hearing the name of Peter Petrovich for the first time. "Is it possible that you can, up until now, not have received no information?" asked Peter Petrovich, somewhat confused. In reply, Raskolnikov sank languidly back on the pillow, put his hands behind his head, and gazed at the ceiling. A look of dismay came into Luzin's face. Zosimov and Razumikin stared at him more inquisitively than ever, and at last he showed unmistakable signs of embarrassment. "I had presumed and calculated," he faltered, "that a letter posted more than 10 days, if not a fortnight ago." Why are you standing in the doorway?" Razumikin interrupted suddenly. "If you got something to say, sit down. You and Nastasia are so crowded. Nastasia, make room for him. Here's a chair. Tread your way in." He moved his chair back from the table, made a little space between the table and his knees, and waited in a rather cramped position for the visitor to tread his way in. The minute was chosen so that it was impossible to refuse, and the visitor squeezed his way through, hurrying and stumbling. Reaching the chair, he sat down, looking suspiciously at Razumikin. "Oh, there is no need to be nervous," the latter blurted out. "Rodia has been ill for the last 5 days and delirious for 3, but now he is recovering and has got an appetite. This is his doctor, who has just had a look at him. I am a colleague of Rodia's, like him, formerly a student, and now I am nursing him. So don't take any note of us. Just carry on with your business." "Oh, thank you, but shall I not disturb the invalid by my presence and conversation?" Peter Petrovich asked Zosimov. No, mumbled Zosimov. You may amuse him." He yawned again. "He has been conscious a long time, since morning," went on Razumikin, whose familiarity seemed so much like unaffected good nature that Peter Petrovich began to be more cheerful, partly perhaps because his shabby and insolent person had introduced him as a student. "Your mother," began Luzin. Razumikin cleared his throat loudly. Luzin looked at him inquiringly. That's all right. Go on." Luzin shrugged. "Sorry, that's all right. Go on." Luzin shrugged his shoulders. "Your mother had commenced a letter to you while I was sojourning in her neighborhood. On my arrival here, I purposely allowed a few days to elapse before coming to see you, in order that I might be fully assured that you were in full possession of the news. But now, to my astonishment—" I know, Raskolnikov cried suddenly with impatient vexation. "So you're the fiancé? I know that, and that's enough." There was no doubt that Peter Petrovich was offended this time, but he said nothing. He made a violent effort to understand what it all meant. There was a moment's silence. Meanwhile, Raskolnikov, who had turned a little towards him when he entered, began suddenly staring at him again with marked curiosity, as though he had not had a good look at him yet, or as though something new had struck him. He rose from his pillow on purpose to stare at him. There certainly was something peculiar in Peter Petrovich's whole appearance, something which seemed to justify the title of fiancé. Petrovich's, which had so unfortunately been applied to him. In the first place, it was evident, far too evident, actually, that Peter Petrovich had eagerly used his few days in the capital to buy himself a new set of clothes, in which to greet his fiancée, which was in fact an entirely innocent, permissible thing to do. Even his slightly complacent consciousness of the improvement in his appearance might have been forgiven in such circumstances, given that Peter Petrovich had just got engaged. All his clothes were fresh from the tailor's and fine for the occasion, except for the fact that they were too new and too distinctively appropriate. Even the stylish new round hat had the same significance. Peter Petrovich treated it too respectfully and held it too carefully in his hands. The exquisite pair of lavender gloves, real Louvain, told the same tale, if only because he did not wear them and just carried them in his hand for show. Light, youthful colors were the dominant feature of Peter Petrovich's dress. He wore a charming fawn-colored summer jacket, light, thin trousers, a waistcoat of the same fine new cloth, a cravat made of the lightest cambric, with pink stripes on it, and the best thing about it was that it all suited Peter Petrovich. His very fresh and even handsome face always looked younger than 45, his real age. His dark lamp-chop whiskers made a beautiful setting on both sides, growing thickly about his shining, clean-shaven chin. Although his hair was touched here and there with gray and had been combed and curled at a hairdresser's, it did not give him a stupid appearance, as curled hair usually does, by inevitably suggesting a German on his wedding day. If there was really something unpleasant and repulsive in his pretty good-looking and imposing face, it was caused by a completely different factor. After he had disrespectfully scanned Mr. Luzin, Raskolnikov smiled wickedly, wickedly and sank back onto the pillow and stared at the ceiling as before. But Mr. Losing hardened his heart and seemed to determine to take no notice of their oddities. I feel the greatest regret at finding you in this situation, he began, again breaking the silence with an effort. If I had been aware of your illness, I should have come earlier. But you know what business is. I have, too, a very important legal affair in the Senate, not to mention other preoccupations, which you may well conjecture. I am expecting your mother and sister any minute. Raskolnikov made a movement and seemed about to speak. His face showed some excitement. Peter Petrovich paused, waited, but as nothing followed, he went on. Any minute. I have found an apartment for when they arrive. Where? Asked Raskolnikov weakly. Very near here, in Bakalayev's house. That's in Voskresinki, put in Razumiki. There are 2 floors there which are let by a merchant called Yushin. I've been there. Yes, rooms. A disgusting place, filthy, stinking, and what's more dubious, things have happened there, and there are all sorts of queer people living there, and I went there to investigate a scandal. It's cheap, though. I could not, of course, find out so much about it, as I am a stranger in Petersburg myself, Peter Petrovich replied sulkily. However, the 2 rooms are extremely clean, and as it is going to be for such a short time, I've around found a permanent, that is, our future apartment, he said, addressing Raskolnikov. And I am having it done up. And meanwhile, I myself have been crammed into a room with my friend Andrei Semyonovich Lebeziatnikov in Madame Lipeshwell's apartment. It was he who told me about Bakalayev's house, too. Lebeziatnikov? Sorry about the pronunciation. Lebeziatnikov, said Raskolnikov slowly, as if remembering something. Yes. Andrei Semyonovich Lebeziatnikov, a clerk in the ministry. Do you know him? Yes and no. Raskolnikov answered. Tatsuta, Twitch, welcome. Stranger, no, this is Crime and Punishment. I apologize. I imagine that was the cause of your inquiry. I was once his guardian, a very nice young man, and a progressive as well. I like to meet young people. You can learn new things from them. Losing looked around hopefully at them all. How do you mean? Asked Razumikhin. In the most serious and essential matters, Peter Petrovich replied, as though delighted by the question. You see, it's 10 years since I visited Petersburg. All the novelty, reforms, ideas have reached us in the provinces, but to see it all more clearly one must be in Petersburg. And in my opinion, you observe and learn most by watching the younger generation. And I confess, I am delighted. At what? Your question is a broad one. I may be mistaken, but I think I find clearer views, more, as it were, criticisms, more practicality. Oh, that is true, Zosimov let drop. Nonsense, there is no practicality. Razumikhin flew at him. Practicality is a difficult thing to find. It will not drop down from heaven. As for the last 200 years, we have been divorced from all practical life. Ideas, if you like, are fermenting, he said to Peter Petrovich. And desire for good exists, though it's in a childish form, and honesty you may find, although there are people who hijack it. Anyway, there is no practicality. Practicality has to have some kind of experience behind it. I don't agree with you, Peter Petrovich replied with evident enjoyment. Of course, people do get carried away and make mistakes, but you must be indulgent of that. Those mistakes are merely evidence of enthusiasm for the cause of an abnormal external environment. If little has been done, then there hasn't been time, let alone the means. It's my personal view, if you'd like to know, that something has been accomplished already. New and valuable ideas, new and valuable works are circulating instead of our old, dreamy, old romantic authors. Literature is taking on a more mature form. Many unjust prejudices have been rooted up and turned into ridicule. In a word, we have cut ourselves off irreversibly from the past, and that, to my thinking, is a great thing. He's learned it by heart to show off, Raskolnikov pronounced suddenly. What? Asked Peter Petrovich, not catching his words, but received no reply. That's all true, Zosimov hastily remarked. Isn't it so? Peter Petrovich went on, giving Zosimov a friendly glance. You must admit, he went on, addressing Razumikhin with a shade of triumph and superiority, he almost added, young men. that there has been an advance, or as they say now, progress in the name of science and economic truth. A commonplace? No, not a commonplace. Up until now, for instance, if I were told, love thy neighbor, what came of it? Peter Petrovich went on, perhaps too hastily. It meant I had to tear my coat in half to share it with my neighbor, and we both were left half naked. As the Russian proverb goes, catch several hares and you won't catch one. Science now tells us, love yourself above everyone else, for everything in the world relies on self-interest. You love yourself and manage your own affairs properly, and your coat remains whole. Economic truth adds that the better private affairs are organized in society, the more whole coats, so to speak, the firmer its foundations, and the better organized common welfare shall be. Therefore, in acquiring wealth solely and exclusively for myself, I am acquiring, so to speak, for everyone, and helping to get my neighbor a little more than a torn coat. That is not because of my private personal liberty, but because of general advance. The idea is simple, but unhappily it has been a long time reaching us because we have been hindered by idealism and sentimentality, and yet very little intelligence is needed to perceive it. Excuse me, I have very little intelligence myself, Razumikin cut in sharply, so let's drop it. I began this discussion with a purpose, but I've grown so sick during the last 3 years of chattering to amuse myself, of constantly pouring forth commonplaces which are always the same, that I blush even when other people talk like that. You are in a hurry, no doubt, to exhibit your acquirements, and I don't blame you, it's forgivable. I only wanted to find out what sort of man you are, because so many unscrupulous people have gotten hold of the progressive cause recently and have distorted it in their own interests to such an extent that the whole cause has been dragged to the mire. That's enough. Excuse me, sir, said Losing, offended and speaking with excessive dignity. Do you mean to suggest so improperly that I, too? Oh, sir, how could I? Come on, that's enough. Razumikin concluded, and he turned abruptly to Zosimov to continue their previous conversation. Peter Petrovich was sensible enough to accept his denial. He made up his mind to take leave in another minute or two. I trust our acquaintance, he said. I trust our acquaintance, he said, addressing Raskolnikov. May, upon your recovery and in view of the circumstances, become closer. Above all, I hope you return to health. Raskolnikov did not even turn his head. Peter Petrovich began getting up from his chair. One of her customers must have killed her, Zosimov declared. Not a doubt, replied Razumikin. Poor Fury hasn't given me his opinion, but he's examining everyone who left pledges with her. Examining then? Raskolnikov asked aloud. Yes, what then? Oh, nothing. How does he get hold of them? Asked Zosimov. Coach has put forward some of their names. Other names are on the wrappers of the pledges, and some have come forward themselves. It must have been a cunning, experienced criminal, the boldness of it, the coolness. That's just what it wasn't, interposed Razumikin. That's just what it wasn't, interposed Razumikin. That's what throws you all off the scent. I don't think he's cunning or experienced. This was probably his first crime. Assuming the criminal plan at all doesn't work. Suppose he's inexperienced. It's clear that the only thing which saved him was chance, and chance can do anything. Perhaps he didn't even foresee any obstacles. What did he do? He took jewels worth 10 or 20 rubles, stuffed his pockets with them, ransacked the old woman's trunk, her rags, and found 1,500 rubles, besides notes in a box in the top drawer of the chest. He didn't know how to rob anyone. He could only carry out the murder. It was his first crime, I'm telling you. His first crime. He lost his head. He got off because he was lucky, not because he was experienced. You are talking about the murder of the old pawnbroker, I believe, Peter Petrovich put in, addressing Zosimov. He was standing, hat and gloves in hand, but before departing he felt disposed to throw off a few more intellectual phrases. He was evidently anxious to make a favorable impression, and his vanity overcame his good sense. Yes, you heard of it? Oh yes, being in the neighborhood. Do you know the details? Oh, I can't say that, but there's another circumstance which interests me about the case, the whole question, so to say. Not to speak of the fact that crime has been greatly on the increase among the lower classes during the last 5 years, not to speak of the cases of robbery and arson everywhere. What strikes me as the strangest thing is that even on the upper rungs of the social ladder, crime is increasing proportionally. In one place you hear about a student robbing the mayo on the high road. In another place, high-class people forge false banknotes. In Moscow, a whole gang has recently been caught forging lottery tickets. And none of the ringleaders was a lecturer in universal history. Then one of our diplomats abroad was murdered for some obscure motive of gain. And if this old woman, the pawnbroker, has been murdered by a member of the higher classes, peasants after all don't go on trinkets, how are we to explain this demoralization of the civilized part of our society? There have been many economic changes, putting Zosimov. How can we explain it? Razumin caught him up. Perhaps it's happening because we are totally impractical. Oh, how do you mean? How did your lecturer in Moscow reply when he was asked why he was forging notes? Everybody's getting rich one way or the other. So I want to hurry up and get rich too. I don't remember the exact words, but the upshot was that he wants money for nothing without wanting or working. We got used to having everything ready-made for us, from walking on crutches to chewing our food. Then the great moment arrived, and everyone showed their true colors. But morality, and so to speak, principles. But why do you worry about it? But why do you worry about it? Raskolnikov interposed suddenly. It is in accordance with your theory. In accordance with my theory? Well, if you carry out logically the theory you were advocating just now, it follows that people may be killed. My God, cried Luzin. No, that's true. Not true, putting Zosimov. Raskolnikov lay with a white face and twitching upper lip, breathing painfully. There's a measure in all things, Luzin continued with an air of superiority. Economic ideas are not an incitement to murder, and you only have to suppose. And is it true? Raskolnikov interposed once more suddenly, again in a voice quivering with fury and delight in insulting him. Is it true that you told your fiancée within an hour of her acceptance that what pleased you most was that she was a beggar because it was better to raise a wife from poverty so that you could have a complete control over her and reproach her because she is dependent on your charitable donations? My God, Luzin cried furiously and irritably, crimson with confusion. You have entirely distorted my words. Excuse me, allow me to assure you that the report which has reached you, or rather has been conveyed to you, has no foundation in the truth. And I suspect who, in a word, this arrow, in a word, your mother. She seemed to me, in other things, with all her excellent qualities, a little high-flown and romantic. But I was 1,000 miles from thinking that she would misunderstand and misinterpret things so woefully. And in fact, I'll tell you what, cried Raskolnikov, raising himself on his pillow and fixing his fierce, glittering eyes upon him. I'll tell you what. What? Luzin stood still, waiting with a defiant and offended face. Silence lasted for some seconds. If ever again you dare to mention a single word about my mother, I shall send you flying down the stairs. Oh, what's the matter with you? Cried Razumikin. So that's how it is. Luzin turned pale, bit his lip. Let me tell you, sir, he began deliberately, making the greatest possible effort to restrain himself, but breathing hard. From the moment I set eyes on you, I could see that you disliked me, but I remained here on purpose to find out more. I could forgive a great deal in a sick man and a connection, but you? Never after this. I'm not ill, cried Raskolnikov. So much worse. But Luzin was already leaving without finishing his speech, squeezing between the table and the chair. Razumikin got up, this time to let him pass, without glancing at anyone and not even nodding to Zosimov, who had for some time been making signs to him to leave the sick man alone. He went out, lifting his hat to the level of his shoulders to avoid crushing it as he stooped to go out of the door, and even the curve of his spine indicated the horrible insult he had received. Oh, how could you? How could you? Razumikin said, shaking his head in perplexity. Leave me alone, all of you! Raskolnikov shouted in a frenzy. Will you ever stop tormenting me? I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of anyone now. Get away from me. I want to be alone, I say. Come along, said Zosimov, nodding to Razumikin. Well, we can't leave him like this. Come along, Zosimov repeated insistently, and he went out. Razumikin fought a minute and ran to overtake him. It might be worse not to obey him, said Zosimov on the stairs. He mustn't be irritated. Oh, what's the matter with him? If only he could get some favorable shock. That's what would do it. At first he was better, he has got something on his mind, some fixed idea waiting on him. He must have. Perhaps it's that man, Peter Petrovich. From his conversation, it seems he's going to marry his sister, and that he had received a letter about it just before his illness. Yes, damn it, he may have completely wrecked the case. But have you noticed, he doesn't take any interest in anything. He doesn't respond to anything except one point he seems excited about. The murder? Yes, Razumikin agreed. I noticed that too. His interest frightened. It gave him a shock on the day he was ill in the police office. He fainted. Tell me more about that this evening, and I'll tell you something afterwards. He interests me a lot. In a half hour, I'll go see him again. There will be no inflammations, though. Thanks, and I'll wait for Patchenka. In the meanwhile, I'll keep watch over him through Nastasia. Raskolnikov, left alone, looked with impatience and misery at Nastasia, but she stayed. Don't you want some tea now? Later. I am sleepy. Leave me be. He turned abruptly to the wall, and Nastasia went out. Alright, I was so consumed in my reading that I didn't see this bot sneak into the Twitch chat trying to sell me AI viewers. Now we're going to finish our reading here, page 153. We are getting interesting. Finally, Raskolnikov meets the future fiancé of his sister, which his mother has warned him about. So, ladies and gentlemen, with our Mirror Dungeon complete and our book reading complete as well, we are done with today's stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time with the book. Hope you got a good time with the Mirror Dungeon. There wasn't much to review, as we have already reviewed those units quite a few times, but keep in mind that any duo status team that you can do for the Mirror Dungeon will be very overpowered because you have 2 sets of ego gifts to take advantage of. With all that said, thank you. If you liked the stream, please recommend it to your friends. If you did not like it, however, recommend it to your enemies. Thank you all so very much for being present today. Sweet kisses and goodbye. Oh yes, and don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe if you want to give some support to the channel. Bye bye!